What's going on, guys? CTG Matt back. Let's talk about some things going on in the NBA. I want to talk about A, what I watched last night, and B, the rumors going on in the NBA, the trade news and such like that as we get closer to the deadline. Don't forget to like, subscribe if you enjoy the video. We're going to start off with, like I said, what I watched yesterday, who I watched more particularly. I started my night with Celtics versus Heat. That's my favorite team. Anthony Simons, the Inferno. He scored about 17 in the fourth, 14 in the fourth. It was double digits in the fourth, well into the teens as well. It wasn't Jaylen Brown that won the game. It wasn't, Derek White, who are the usual heroes for the Celtics. It was Anthony Simons and a lot of other guys. Luka Garza chipped in. Jordan Walsh had a ton of rebounds. The Heat are a very weird team because they're the best first quarter team in the NBA. I think they are the highest scoring first quarter team in the league. The issue is the thing that gets them that lead in the first quarter, they slowly get away from as the game goes on, it seems. And I've watched that a couple of times this year too, where they start off with the heavy pace that they always do. I think they almost scored 40 in the first quarter, I believe. They started off with a 36-25 lead, but it gets even worse than that considering the fact that they started the game at like 28-9. They really started off hot as can be, and they got away from it. Later in the game, the pace slowed. That's not what the Miami Heat do. They don't play like that. The half-court game is not the Miami Heat specialty. They specialize in getting out on the break, in transition, forcing turnovers, missed shots leading to long rebounds. They're not aiming for second chance points and all that fancy stuff and making threes and how many shots you can get up in the half court. They just want to get up as many shots as possible. They want to play like the Pacers of last year with Halliburton and such. It really seemed to slip away from them. And the Miami Heat announcers they're terrific. I enjoy those guys very much. One of them, I forgot his name, but he used to play point guard. He was a real scrappy motherfucker. I can't remember his name right now. It's their color commentator. He used to play point guard for, God, I can't remember. But either way, they talked about it yesterday, how it's like the pace slowing down really screwed the Heat over. They don't play half-court basketball very well, at the moment, at least. And I think it's also because in the half-court, you have to have a playmaker, and they don't have one really. Like, Davion Mitchell and Jaime Jaquez and Bam are good passers, don't get me wrong, but they don't have a guy who can set up in a half court and hit the open man consistently. That's why I thought they'd be more in on Ja Morant. They aren't. We'll talk about that, but they are not. And so it really is interesting to see them struggle in the half court, but also at the same time not be interested in a playmaking guard. And it's not like there's a spacing concern if they had somebody like Ja Morant. Kel'el Ware is shooting very well from three, well over 40. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league, one of the best three-point shooting bigs in basketball currently. Bam Adebayo's hitting his shots from deep again, like Norm Powell, Tyler Hero, Davion Mitchell. Those guys can knock down the three ball as well. So it's not like a spacing issue is keeping them away from Ja. They just don't want his ass. And I understand that, but it was weird to watch the leads slip away from the Heat and them not really do anything to adjust. This isn't the Heat of old, is kind of what I'm getting at. Back in the day, like I get it, it was still a very frustrating game for the Celtics. You start out down 28-9 or whatever. It's an uphill battle straight up. This is not the Heat of old that's going to dig in and get stops and stuff like that. This team is defense optional at times, it seems. I don't know. I'm talking a lot about the Heat, and I understand that might be a little bit weird for some people, but they are a frustrating team that plays super inconsistent. You never get the same team on a night-to-night basis. You see one strong quarter and then gradual decline. Yesterday was even more strange for them because they lost the rebounding battle. They won the three-point shooting battle. The Heat beat the Celtics in three-point shooting. They made more and attempted more than the Celtics did. And they lost the game because they couldn't win on the glass. That was the big deciding factor, was offensive rebounds. The Celtics had, I shit you not, they had 18 offensive rebounds to the Heat's 12. The Celtics had 51 total rebounds to the Heat's 40, which is, again, strange considering both Bam and Kel'el played yesterday. Bam pulled down 4 rebounds, and Kel'el had a shocking 5. He's a guy that's really hard to keep off the glass, and he only finished with 5. And even more weird about that is some of these quotes that have come out from Erik Spoelstra about Kel'el Ware. Recently, he's talked about like young players play poorly to kind of say like, hey, I deserve more opportunity, to kind of give you the bird and say, give me more minutes or else type of thing. And that's not how it works. That's literally the quote from Spoelstra. I'm not bullshitting you. He basically said, like, young players will sandbag to get more minutes. It doesn't make any sense at all. But either way, that's what Spoelstra said. And then Kel'el Ware plays 8 minutes the night before. 8 or 9. I think he might have played like 15, somewhere around there. Nope, 9 minutes. 9 minutes Kel'el Ware played. and that's like their third best player right now. Nikola Jovic, I'm sorry, bad. Not good. He has not been shooting the three well for the last few weeks. He's missing free throws yesterday. He's missing bunnies at the rim, just layups he's missing. Like, I don't know what's going on with the Miami Heat, man. That is a weird team, a really weird team. Bam Adebayo had a chance to cut into the lead a little bit late, and he misses a floater in the lane that probably for Bam goes in 8 times out of 10. I don't know what's going on, but suddenly the Celtics run the Kaseya Center. That's all I'm going to say about that one. What was the next game that I watched? I didn't get around to watching Spurs versus Bucks because by the time the Celtics game ended, that game was basically salted away and done by then. I don't care about the 20-point drumming that was given out. The Bucks suck. They do. They're bad. They've gotten 30 balled and 20 balled the last, 2 games. Embarrassing shit. But Victor's balled? What the fuck's that about? I saw Keldon was giving him the cut on the plane. I don't know what's going on in the Spurs locker room. The vibes are up, and that's stupendous. But why did he have to go bald? I don't know. He aged like 30 years with one haircut. It's wild. The Bucks stink, dude. That's a problem. I saw that they were in the Ja Morant sweepstakes. Does that save it? I don't know. I called it Horst's Hail Mary. That's all he's got left is guessing. Does Ja Morant work with this team? I don't know. I like that they have the stretch 5 ability with Miles Turner. They have a paint presence in Giannis, and it makes sense, kinda. But again, I don't think I love that either, and I don't think that's saving this whole thing. It's really going downhill in Milwaukee. The second game that I watched was Portland versus Atlanta. I thought this was going to be an interesting game because I believe there was no Denny, right? Yeah, there was no Denny in this game. So I was like, okay, Atlanta's got a little bit of a chance. Not really. I mean, no. Nobody really showed up for Atlanta. I mean, I don't know. Onyeka Okongwu, I think, had the most shot attempts on their team. Jalen Johnson had sub-10 shot attempts, which is just really random. They were giving him the threes as well. If he can't make threes, he is a wild player. He gets closer to Ben Simmons if he can't shoot. I will give props where it's due. I think I gave a little bit of a shout-out to this guy in a video before, but I kind of want to give him a little bit more now. Shaedon Sharpe, since December 1st, Shaedon Sharpe is averaging 22 points per game, 3 assists, and shooting 46 from the field and 39 from 3. The three-point shot is a big thing for Shaedon Sharpe because we know he's a good finisher. He can fly. When he jumps, he literally scrapes his fucking head on the retired jerseys up in the rafters, right? But if you can't shoot, that athleticism is less utilized. They're going to pack the paint on you. If he's a 39% three-point shooter, it makes him almost unguardable because he does have a slick handle too. It was on Vite Krejci, I believe, like halfway through the first quarter, where he goes between the legs. He drives straight down to the lane, right to the free throw line area, then pulls back and turns into a fadeaway. Like, it was a slick move. Their announcer was even tweaking. He was like, he's deep in his bag. It was really fun, a fun sequence there, but they belt to ass the Hawks. The Hawks didn't show up, and Onyeka Okongwu and CJ McCollum were like their leading shot shot takers. There we go. So that's not what I want to watch if I'm the Atlanta Hawks. I don't want to watch Onyeka Okongwu get up 20 shots. I don't. He took 15 threes. I believe Onyeka Okongwu dead ass took 15 threes yesterday. Shot 5 for 15 from 3. Why? He was just getting them up. He was really just getting them up. But as per usual, you want to know where the Atlanta Hawks lost the game? The rebounding battle. Their GM had a quote the other day where he's like, we're not going to bring in a patchwork center just to fix it this year. Okay, then you're going to continue to lose on the fucking glass, because that's just going to happen every single night. Yesterday, the Portland Trailblazers had 16 offensive rebounds to the Atlanta Hawks 7. It's a 9 offensive rebound advantage. 54 to 40 on the glass total. They got thumped on the boards, and that's a big difference maker, and that really frustrates me when I hear things from GMs that are like, well, I'm not going to do a patchwork big man now. Are you kidding me? Me do work at midseason? No way. It's like, I don't think Hawks fans are asking for a lot. You don't need Anthony Davis. He's old and he doesn't fit the timeline. Fuck that Anthony Davis shit. I don't even know why he's rumored to go there. It shouldn't be Anthony Davis. What they should be doing is targeting a guy like Daniel Gafford. Just a big guy who grabs rebounds. You don't need a guy who can tween, cross, go get average 20 a night. No, motherfucker, they need a 7-footer who can average 9 rebounds. That's it. Because Onyeka's getting killed on the glass. Porzingis has whatever that is. Lord knows when he's going to get back on the floor. What other centers do you have? Mo Gay is like 6'7". Pause. It just really bothered me that he's like, yeah, I'm not going to go get a fill-in at center now. And it's like, why? Again, Mason Plumlee could go get you 10 boards. That's all you need is a guy that can grab a fucking rebound. I love Onyeka to death, but he's not a tough rebounder. He's like 6'8". Their two centers right now, I believe, are seriously, not even joking with you, 6'8" Onyeka Okongwu, and I swear to God, Mo Gay can't be more than 6'9". They list him at 6'11". There's just no way. Mo Gay is not a center. He's a forward, right? They aren't playing centers at center. Onyeka Okongwu is probably a listed center, but again, he's a 6'8". Like, he's Bam Adebayo, but smaller than Bam, and Bam even has trouble sometimes with size down low. I don't like their roster in that regard. I get it. You don't want to patchwork it and bring in some long-term guy. You'd rather develop young, but you don't have a young center that's still developing. Onyeka's in like year 6. He's developed a while. He's not going to suddenly grow an inch, 2 inches, and suddenly become a 7-footer. That's not going to happen. And I know Porzingis is out, blah, 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 but Porzingis isn't even a big rebounder either. The Atlanta Hawks are just broken because they can't rebound, and their GM is just sitting there like, I don't know, man, not feeling like doing the work this week. Let me just go take another break real quick. I put in a lot of work on this roster, trading Trae Young for fucking table scraps. And finally, the last game I watched before we can move on and talk about some trade stuff was the Lakers and the Hornets. Another belt to ass. Another one. Just straight belt to ass. The Hornets had the lead, and it was never really that close. You're going to look at the box score, and you're going to say something along the lines of, Luka had 39, and he shot efficiently, and they lost. And it's like, if you watch the game, I don't know, man. Luka did not have that impact yesterday. I know he had 40, and people are going to be like, 40's 40 no matter what. And I understand. You're right. 40 is 40. But he had to have let up more than 40 on the defensive end. On top of that, he went back to normal Luka mode. What's normal Luka mode? My team's down. I'm just going to sit in the ref's face for half a defensive possession, yell at the ref while my team plays 5-on-4. That shit has been annoying since day one when he came into the league, and we've known that for years now. Luka's always been a bit of a whiner. He always has been. Eric Collins called him out on the broadcast for being a whiner. Eric Collins, the guy who's like the hum-diddly-dee guy, called him a whiner. They play like close to no defense. I mean, you watch LaMelo Ball have maybe his best, that might be LaMelo Ball's best game of the season. That it might have been, because he had a double-double with 11 assists and like 30 points. Right, but even you look around and it's like all these guys got free points. Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges was killing them just because he was stronger, bigger than everyone. Sure, he made a couple of threes, but like he's just bigger than everyone on the Lakers. He was just bullying. And on the glass, the Lakers lost, but that's also because they just missed a ton of shots. Their offense can't keep up with how bad their defense is. That's just the main issue with the Lakers right now. Their defense is really bad, and their offense can't maintain scoring a $140 every fucking night. It's just not doable. Austin Reeves should be back soon, but I'm not even sure if that's the fix-all. I really like Austin Reeves. He's an all-star talent, but is he the fix for this Lakers team? No, he's not. He's really good, and he definitely helps them win more games. Don't misconstrue this as me saying Austin Reeves is bad and he doesn't help. He is undoubtedly going to help them win more games. But he's not going to help them when it comes to what their needs are. Their needs are a defensive stopper and a big man. And Austin Reeves is neither one. Yeah, he'll help their offense keep up, and maybe they can outpace more teams by their ability to score 140 with Austin Reeves in the lineup, because that's an elite offensive lineup with Bron, Luka, and Reeves, right? That doesn't fix the fact that Ayton's soft as baby shit, and that's crazy to me too, because DeAndre Ayton started the year so well to the point where I gave him credit. Like, I openly came on this YouTube channel and said DeAndre Ayton is playing the best defensive ball we've ever seen from him on that end. And now it's just reverted back to, year 4 in Phoenix Ayton, where like it was the year after the finals where he just looked like he didn't give a shit anymore. That's the thing with Ayton though, is that you're never going to get consistency. Ask Blazers fans. Blazers fans love DeAndre Ayton when you talk about him. They love Mr. Consistent. They're such a bad built team. And even on their bench is shallow. Nick Smith is probably their most established bench scorer. Nick Smith, the guy who Charlotte didn't want. And I know I've mocked them about 100 trades now, but because it needs to happen. It simply just needs to happen. They need to make a move. This is not a championship team. Their record against over 500 teams shows you that. Their record against, when they let up a certain amount of points will show you that as well. They're not good enough defensively. And in the playoffs, especially when the half-court game is really even more emphasized in the playoffs as half-court basketball, if you don't have stoppers in the half-court, you're fucked. And that's just what they are, because the killer whale offense always comes out in the playoffs. The killer whale offense, Joe Mazzulla loves to call it, where it's find the guy who can't defend, and we're going to run 8 pick and rolls on his head. There's a reason why Trae Young and guys like that, Ja Morant, are always at the top of the league in like the amount of screens they've had to work through. It's because they're bad defenders and teams are going right at them. You can try and hide a Luka all you want. You can hide Luka by putting him on who's a guy yesterday he could have covered? Fucking Colin Sexton or something. Not even. You can put Luka on, I don't even know who the worst player in the Hornets lineup is. It's probably their center play, but you're not going to put Luka on a center. You know what I mean? They could put him on Con Knepel or whatever, and it doesn't matter. They're just going to give the ball to Con and say, all right, we're going to run 1-5 pick and rolls with the 2 guard then. Oh, well. They consistently lead the league in pick and rolls defended because they're bad defender types. You need stoppers in the half court. Rob Pelinka just needs to make moves soon. The funniest part is the Hornets aren't even committed to winning, I wouldn't say. They still want to develop Tidjane Salaam. He still gets PT here and there. That's a guy that I kind of want to tip my cap to, but at the same time, it's not like he's been that good. There's a couple of highlight plays Tidjane will have where it's like, oh, that's a little flash right there, but it's not consistent still with Salaam. I wish he would turn a corner, but it's at the point in his career where it's like he might be a Greensboro Hornet for a while. But of recently, he's come up back into the NBA, and he's looked like an NBA player, I guess I'll say. I mean, he's definitely been on the court. He hasn't been elite, but he's there. I like Tidjane. I haven't really fully given up on him, but at the same time, I don't know. The Hornets seem like they are better people than I, because I would not have this much faith in him. But that is all for what I watched yesterday. As like I said, I didn't even know there was a Munich game on, the Germany game. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I'm so not accustomed to having basketball on at 2 p.m. It was 4, I think, when the game was still going on. Anthony Black had a crazy dunk. Everybody's seen it by now. But I didn't even know there was basketball yesterday. I really didn't. So sorry to Germany. Sorry to, I guess, Jaren. He had a really good game. Proud of the Pistons. Remember I said coach of the year should be J.B. Bickerstaff? Cade Cunningham has his worst game of the year, maybe, and they still beat the Suns, who are a very competitive team. Rockets Thunder was belt to ass, I'm seeing. Spurs versus Bucks was belt to ass. Bryce Sensabaugh has had a couple of good games recently, so I'll give him a little bit of a salute, even though they got belt to ass. A lot of belt to ass. National Blowout Association. It's coming in full swing. Usually around mid-season, you start to see teams start to slip and fall a little bit more. You'll see more ebbs and flows in play. A team will drop 3 in a row, then win 6 in a row. Stuff like that. So if you're seeing more drummings than usual, it's just the mid-season stuff. I feel like that's normal. Let me know down in the comments if you think that's normal or not. That toward mid-season in the year, it starts to become more ugly sometimes. There's some absolute blowouts that just happen every once in a while. It's more common at the mid-season than at the start of the season. At the start of the season, you just have more energy, stuff like that. Mid-season, it starts to become more of a grind. Okay, up next, we are on the Fanspo trade machine. We're going to start messing around with it because we got some trade news that the Celtics were allegedly looking at Jaren Jackson Jr. as a potential upgrade. The trade is already mapped out, basically. I just kind of want to show you guys, if you haven't seen what it would look like. It would be Anferno and Slam Hauser, and probably someone in the market of a Hugo Gonzalez. I'm not sure I want to trade Hugo Gonzalez, but I think that's what they would want. At least you get to keep Jordan Walsh. How is Jordan Walsh minus 2.25 LeBron? He is literally the best defender on the Celtics. But I'm assuming it would probably cost a Hugo Gonzalez, which I don't like that much. But you're getting Jaren Jackson in return, and you're probably not going to be able to give up any picks. I'm not personally giving up any picks. This trade goes through. Hugo Gonzalez is a first-round pick, basically, at this rate. He's a great defender, and he looks like he has plus athleticism, plus size. And for only 19 years old, that's valuable as hell. Now, I'm unsure about this from the Celtics' perspective because of the fact that, Jaren's a terrific player, but he still has holes in his game. He doesn't rebound the ball. That's always been a fatal crux in Jaren's game, is the fact that he does not rebound. Also, the fact that he fouls a ton. He is a Sir Fouls a lot type of player. There's holes in his game for sure. One thing he doesn't have a hole in is how good his defense is. I know he fouls a lot, like I said, but he's also a guy that will change shots around the rim constantly. He's a shot-altering type of guy. He doesn't get as many blocks as he used to because players don't go up around him as much as they used to, but he's an altered shot type of guy. It would suck to give up if, my perspective as a Celtics fan, Hugo Gonzalez is so exciting. Again, he's only 19 years old, and he is showing out to be a feature piece. And his box score numbers aren't going to say much crazy, but you turn on the tape, his defense is really good. He has good job jump. He's very good at jumping the passing lanes. He can knock down a three here and there. Even though it's not automatic, he can do it. Anthony Simons just had one of his best games ever, I'll say, yesterday. 30 whatever against the Heat, almost a 40 piece against the Heat. It would suck to give him up. He's a 6 man of the year conversation type of guy. I don't think he's going to win it this year, but he's in the conversation. And then Sam Hauser, he was a part of the championship team. So, of course, I have a little bit of sentimental value toward just about everyone on that championship team, but you get Jaren in return. He's got many years left on his contract. That locks him in with Brown and Tatum long term. You still have Cade at the 5 man. You can play Jaren at the 4, Cade at the 5, or you can play Garza at the 5 now more effectively because you have a defender next to him that can protect the rim. It makes sense for both sides, to be honest. If you're a Grizzlies fan and you want to pick out of this, you're going to get a second. I'm sorry. Hugo Gonzalez is a 19-year-old defensive demon. And like I said, he's basically worth a first-round pick. He is a 19-year-old who has showed that he can be a full NBA player. He's an NBA player basically already. So if you want to pick, I genuinely disagree with you, but sure, you can throw a second or two on there, and I won't feel much different. Another team that allegedly showed interest in Jaren was the Detroit Pistons. They're hard-capped at the first apron. Wow. All right, but this trade would have to include, I believe, Tobias Harris, and I think there was one more that I saw, probably Karras. But you could also get away with probably getting them. I don't know if they want to get rid of Ivy. I'm not exactly sure who it would consist of. I know Toby would have to be a part of it. I'm just going to give up Karras. I don't know. Karras has been good, but overall, it's like, I don't know. I think they have to give up somebody. Ivy is interesting. If you want to give up Ivy, I'd understand. We can make that work maybe in a minute. But this would probably include picks because there are no young players here. It's Karras and Tobias. There's no young players involved, so there would have to be a pick exchange. I would say a 20. Let's give them the 2026 because the Pistons are going to be good this year. We could fully unprotected. It's going to be like the 27th pick. Oh, well. And then we can give up a couple of seconds or something like that because I don't want to give away too many first-round picks. So it would be a first-round pick, 2 seconds, and I don't know. I'd give up one more first-round pick essentially because that 2026 first-round pick is going to end up with like basically a second-round pick. It's 29th. This trade would go through Jaren Jackson Jr. for Tobias Harris, Caris LeVert, a first-round pick, and 3 second-round picks. It works. I like this trade better for the Pistons than I do for the Celtics because they have more movable deals that mean less. They just mean less. Sorry. But you're giving up more pick equity. But the thing is, you're the 1 seed at this current point. And you've done it all with like one guy who can get 30. It's Cade. It would be nice to have a guy like Jaren Jackson who could take some of the scoring load off Cade Cunningham. You don't need rebounding help because you have the best one of the best rebounding teams in basketball. One of the top 3 best rebounding teams in basketball. So you don't need the rebounding help. So Jaren's biggest flaw, him not rebounding, isn't even needed in Detroit. So I think that would really help. He's a good shooter, so he can play next to Duren. Him and Stewart would be vicious in the paint. And you're giving up an expiring Tobias, 2 years on Karras, which, okay. A first-round pick, which is a 2026 I gave up, which would math out to like the 28th pick, 29th pick, which is basically just an early second. And then 3 second-round picks, one via Brooklyn or Dallas, which could work out well, and a second-round pick via Milwaukee, which could shoot up based on the Giannis trade, which may or may not happen. It says the Pistons get 0 better, but hey, man, I think they get better. I think they do. Tobias isn't having the greatest year. Karras is actually not bad for them, all things considered. But I'd much prefer them to have a consistent 20 points per game guy next to Cade Cunningham that they just haven't had this year. There was also another trade I saw. It would include the Clippers trading with the Kings. And they would be it would be DeMar DeRozan going to the Clippers. And where is Keon Ellis to the Clippers for John Collins? And I believe that's all they need to trade, right? Because John Collins making 26, DeMar and Keon are basically making 27-ish, which is close enough. I think the Clippers would have to give up picks, but not a lot. So I'm going to go a couple of second-round picks, we'll say, because first of all, DeMar DeRozan just doesn't seem very wanted in Sacramento. The timeline doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. It's an expiring for John Collins, which I think makes it worthwhile. This trade would fail. Hold on. Why? Trade wouldn't go through because they have to give up a little bit more money. So if I give up Kobe Brown, would it go through? It would. It would be John Collins, Kobe Brown, and 2 second-round picks for Keon Ellis and DeMar DeRozan. This instantly makes the Clippers better. They have another on-ball creator that can score with Harden and Kawhi. And now you get a stopper in the backcourt next to Chris Dunn, who can actually shoot. Right? Chris Dunn's fatal flaw is that he can't make a jump shot consistently. He has this year. He hasn't been bad from 3, but teams let him shoot for the most part. Keon Ellis is a sniper. What's he shooting on the from 3 this year? You scroll over to stats, 2025. He's shooting 44 from 3. Like, he's a knockdown shooter whose defense isn't that much of a drop-off from a guy like Chris Dunn. I don't think the value would be that much because Keon Ellis doesn't get consistent enough burn in Sacramento, and DeMar DeRozan doesn't fit the timeline at all. And if anything, it only helps with the Kings because they can get off 1 extra year of DeMar DeRozan, and they get to take in Kobe Brown, who's a young guy, 26, older than I thought. And John Collins, what the fuck? John Collins is 2 years older than Kobe Brown. That makes no sense in my mind. But it allows them to get off both of these deals, get out of some money in the offseason because they're paying guys ridiculous contracts. DeMar, Zach, Sabonis, Malik. These guys got multiple years left. Keegan Murray. These guys all got multiple years left, and none of them are good value. DeMar instantly helps the Clippers. They're trying to make the playoffs because, truth be told, there's no point in them tanking. There's not. The Thunder own their pick. There's no point in them trying to be bad, so just keep buying in at this point. Just keep digging the hole. Just keep digging the hole. Eventually, you'll strike oil, right? And maybe this is a little bit of oil. Keon Ellis and DeMar DeRozan, that could really help out a team and make them much more of a playoff contender, I'll say. Allegedly, though, this trade was proposed before the Clippers won 11 out of their last 13 or whatever streak they're on, though, which maybe they don't make it now. But at the end of the day, I still think the Clippers are not an above, like, they're not a team that's too good to make a trade like this. They're not. They're a good team. I don't think they're a great team. I don't think DeMar makes them worse. And I don't think getting rid of John Collins makes them any worse either. John Collins has not had a great run. He's gotten better since he first arrived there, but I don't know, man. You can get a consistent 19. He'd be closer to like 15 with them, but he's a low turnover guy, DeMar is. And then Keon Ellis is a stopper that can actually hit a 3 unlike Chris Dunn. No, I don't mind this trade. I think it would be a beneficial trade for both sides. Like I said, the Kings get off money and the Clippers get a little bit closer to being the contenders that they want to be desperately. I've already talked about Horst Hail Mary, but we're going to do it again just to kind of I don't know how to describe that, to re-bring up the topic because it was proposed again. I saw it would probably be Kuzma to the Bucks, and I would say Ryan Rollins is gone because they really want Ryan Rollins, and they'd probably have to throw in Bobby in there just to make the money work, which would get a little bit difficult. I would say that this was where I threw in who was it? I think I threw in Jock Landale in this trade, so that way the Bucks can keep a little bit of front court size. I think the Bucks would give up Ryan Rollins, but maybe like only 1 second-round pick, because you're giving up Ryan Rollins, and that's a young player that the Grizzlies can be excited about. In this trade would go through. It'd be Ja Morant, Jock Landale for Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, Ryan Rollins, and a second-round pick. It gets the Bucks that guard play that they've been looking for since Dame left. Well, not left, was booted to the curb for absolutely no reason other than to sign Miles Turner. I still don't get that move to this day. I know he wouldn't be playing now because he's not playing now, but it still made no sense even then. And even now, I'm still looking back at it like, what was even the point of that? And then you get Jock Landale, who helps keep some size in the front court. Because he is 6'11", he can knock down a 3, and he plays a little bit of defense. I know the LeBron value or whatever is bad for him, but again, we don't worry about that around here. And they give up Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, Ryan Rollins, and a second-round pick. They might have to throw in more than just a second-round pick, though, because Kuzma and Portis are both on multi-year deals, which makes it a little bit more interesting. You know what I mean? Because it's not like Kuzma and Portis are on one-year salary dump deals. These guys are on legit contracts that are like 2 to 3 years, you see. I don't know, maybe they give up more draft picks, but I feel like Ryan Rollins is worth a good amount. I don't know. That is just a potential trade that has buzzed through on the timeline. And then lastly, one of the worst teams in basketball has shown interest in Ja Morant as well. Maybe not the worst. The Wizards without Trae Young and without CJ and Kispert are horrific. Alex Sarr might as well just sit out at some points, but $39 million to the Pelicans. It would probably include DeJounte Murray and his money. Actually, would it include DeJounte Murray and his money? I have no idea who this would include because they have some big deals. They could throw Jordan Poole in here. So if you do Jordan Poole, you could do Jordan Poole and Saddiq Bey. That makes the money work, basically. Because, yeah, Ja Morant's making 39. You combine Saddiq and Jordan Poole, you're basically at 39. You're close enough, like 38. 38 million basically there. And then you can give up a couple of picks. We'd give up, I don't know, one. This is a Bucks pick. You could have the Bucks pick. I don't think Ja Morant's going to be worth a lot. I don't even know if I'd give up a first because, again, we saw what Trae Young went for. And there's no young pieces in here, so I guess that's maybe why they'd give up something. Maybe we do a first-round pick in 2029, but we, like, top 10 protect it. Or maybe we lottery protect in general. Make it a very low chance it even conveys to Memphis because the Trae Young deal kind of showed us that this isn't, like, these smaller guards, Ja and Trae, don't have the value we think, or at least I thought. So this trade would work. Jordan Poole you could replace with DeJounte Murray just like that if you really feel like it. Saddiq Bey is just to make the money match. And I know Saddiq's had a pretty decent season, but oh well, you got enough wings over there with Herb and Trae staying now. Confirmed they will be staying. And then you get Ja Morant, which I don't know. I don't know why they would do it. They have Jeremiah Fears waiting in the wings. And Ja's got 3 years left on his deal. My God. Why is this even a trade offer? Just so y'all don't think like I'm making up trade offers in my head, Mike A. Scotto said that. He is a senior NBA insider for Hoops Hype. And he said the Pelicans are showing interest in him. I didn't make that up. Like, this isn't schizo thoughts. This was a legit thing, I guess. I don't know. Either way, that's all I got for the trade machine. I got nothing much new in terms of trade news, so I just wanted to pull up some trades that we think might happen, probably won't happen. A lot of things. The NBA is slowly becoming just like the real world. Nothing ever happens. If you enjoyed this video, thank you all for joining me. You should like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Thank you all for joining me. I'm going to catch a game. See you guys in the next one.